Wow, guys, look at that. Both of my weekly trend lines here are being respected in a single weekly candle. Uh, as you know, in my last video, I talked about the potential of this being a bit of a fake out, and I was hoping that we would get a test of this line here first, and look at that. That's basically where we got rejected. Obviously, if we zoom in further where I was in the last video, we did get above it temporarily, but I did explain why I figured that that could have been a fake out and why I was ready to lock in the rest of my profits on that trade that I had. So let's zoom in a little bit to the 4 hour chart here. You guys know that I was watching for this purple ascending triangle. That's not actually where I took my play. I took it down here, and that was because of a red triangle that I pointed out on a 15-minute and 1 hour chart to you guys. I don't want to go into that again, but that's where that came from. But also this weekly, where we dumped on this 4 hour yesterday, like when we lost that support, often when we have a breakout and we break above a very important trend line, which I've been telling you, I think this is an important trend line here. When you break out of that and it does end up being a fake out, usually the rejection ends up being quite harsh. As soon as we lost our support there, it just dumped. It just dumped hard. And where it found support was kind of around that other weekly trend line right here. It's not perfect. These lines might not be perfect, but they've been pretty accurate. But either way, the candle never closed below that. Obviously shot right back up very quickly. If someone was to catch the bottom of that, like within, I think that was just within 15-minute candle or something, it would have recovered 10%. So this dump, although it does look scary, it's not looking overly bearish to me. I am kind of changing the way I'm looking at this. I haven't seen anybody else point this out yet, but it would still be a fresh pattern if it is to play out. Would be more of, rather than a triangle here, more of a rising channel. So that's something that's going to be on my radar right now, is to see if we do just continue to bounce around in this channel, and maybe we do get above this other weekly trend line even just one more time, and have a big breakout from there. But this is all just speculation at this point. That's how I'm gonna leave my chart for now, just so that I can keep that in my mind while I'm trading from now on. But let's zoom in a little further. Let's go into the 1 hour chart. After we had this dump, I mentioned in our group chat that I was going to be watching this trend line here, this purple one. You guys know that I point out these trend lines quite often after dumps, that I just connect a couple wicks. It'll go into the 15-minute because that's what I do like to play mostly, and just how accurate I can place these trend lines, basically bang on touching those. So that's right where I want it. And look at this. So that was yesterday. I mentioned wanting to watch that purple trend line, and today we did, just a few hours ago, had a bit of what looked to me like a rejection there. So I did end up entering a short right at the, I think it was 95.78 region. But I did also mention in our chat that if we, well, my stop loss was only up here, first of all, just in case we broke this purple trend line. But I mentioned that if we break this purple trend line, I was more so looking to exit my short and flip to long, which I did. So this blue line here is where I entered my long, and I actually already hit my first target. I wanted, well, here, I'll show you where I got that target from, just because I wanted to make sure that I win this trade. I wanted to keep my triangle line there, and just in case it was going to act as a new resistance again. So if I go back into the 15-minute chart here, you can see I took my profits just below that, and also I wanted to be just below 9,700 because that is a nice round number, so I figured why not, I'll take a fifth of my position off there. Up here I have my next target, and where that 97.35 comes from. Let's zoom out to the 1 hour just to make it a little nicer here. But that would be if I take my Fibonacci pulled top to bottom, and my 0.618, you guys know I was pointing these out for a while on a lot of videos, would be just below that, about $15, $18 or whatever. So I want to take more of my position out there. Next, I'd be looking at kind of the bottom of this cluster, as well, lining up with the 786 fib line. So I figure that would be a good next target, but obviously depending how we get above this line, if we get above this line, I want to see how it plays out. I do have these take profits already in place, but I might change them if, let's say, we get some sort of a double top Anachi up here or something like that. I'd probably look to close more of my position just to lock in some profits, as well as get rid of some of my risk. And as for right now, since I did hit my first take profit, I already just changed my stop loss to break even because I just don't want to lose on this trade, and this was at 25x, so I already hit a 20% price target in a matter of, well, a couple hours, I guess. So I'm okay with that, and hopefully I hit more of my targets here. Since that purple trend line is after quite a large dump, there is quite a lot of room here with no trading action, so price can get very volatile in those ranges because there is no trading history there. So if we do break above this line, that's kind of why I'm expecting that this target might be the next one to hit, and reasonably quick if it does happen to, hopefully. Obviously, none of this has to happen. My stop loss is already at break even, so I can't lose on this trade. And obviously, guys, none of this is financial advice. Always do your own research. This is a high-risk market. These are only my own opinions and how I'm looking at the market. Hopefully, you can learn something from me, or have my TA line up with some of yours so that it gives you a little extra indicator or something like that. But you are always in control of your own money. I'll never tell you what to do. So guys, anyways, I just kind of wanted to fill you in on the long position that I'm currently in, and kind of what happened here when we lost the support. Like, why we dumped so hard is obviously just after breaking a major trend line like that and then not being able to hold it. Buyers who are buying up here hoping this is a bull flag are more likely to be hitting their stop losses, and probably a lot of stop losses would have, well, obviously a lot of stop losses hit because that's why this dumped so hard. But you can just tell that things are uncertain right now, which I don't think it's necessarily a bearish thing. Price is volatile. We're breaking new grounds. Like, you guys know how I've been watching this weekly trend line here and how I said I was really excited for the break of that. Also mentioned the potential fake out, but I think a lot of people were watching a similar trend line, or a lot of market makers they have been forcing it in this trend. Obviously watching those lines, so it makes sense that there's a lot of volatility going on right now because emotions are high. Let's put it that way. Anyways, guys, kind of getting tongue-tied and rambly and stuff here, so if you appreciate this content, please give me a thumbs up, give me a comment, give me a subscribe if you haven't, and with that, I am out. Peace.